It's coming soon to a television set near you. An incredibly advanced video game system. Are you ready for these amazing graphics and vibrant colors? Can you handle the speed and the power? How about the capacity for stereo sound and for 5 players? You decide before September, because it's coming. TurboGrafx-16, the higher energy video game system. Games sold separately.
The TurboGrafx-16, also better known as the PC Engine everywhere else outside of North America, was a very interesting video game console that had the marriage of Hudson Soft and NEC together to create this console. Developed by Hudson Soft and manufactured by NEC, it was released in Japan in 1987 and then North America in late August of 1989. Boasting an 8-bit CPU that was significantly more powerful than the Nintendo Entertainment Systems, and developed by Hudson Soft themselves, paired with a 16-bit graphics processor. These two chips worked alongside each other inside of the TurboGrafx-16. I did not have one of these growing up, though I did know a couple of people who did. In the summer of 1993, one of my neighborhood friends invited me over to play some games. After we ran it by both of our parents, I went along over there and went and played some video games with him. But it was on a totally different console than I've ever seen before. This wasn't a Nintendo or a Super Nintendo or a Sega Genesis. No, it was a TurboGrafx-16. And his TurboGrafx-16, he had the multi-tap to be able to have up to 5 players. And that was really cool. I got to play all sorts of different games with this friend on the TurboGrafx-16, and even some friends in school, as time went on, would also have this TurboGrafx-16, albeit only about 2 people in our entire school. From what I remember as a kid, this console and its games had incredibly rich colors and graphics, and looked absolutely fantastic compared to even the SNES or the Sega Genesis. The sound was notably not as good as either the Super Nintendo or the Sega Genesis, in my opinion, but the sound still was better than most 8-bit games at the time. Speaking of games, the games that all came out on these little credit card-sized chips. They were called HU cards everywhere except for here, where they were called turbo chips. That is such a cool name, especially in the 90s. This was such a radical machine, and I was really happy to have played it. The controller being similar to an NES design as well, but all blacked out and with turbo enablement, was really cool, and I really appreciated that coming from this console. All that being said, fast forward to 2020, and the pandemic occurs. During the pandemic, it gave many of us lots of time to be able to do all sorts of things, and I played a lot of old school games during that time, including some games from the TurboGrafx-16, and I gotta say, there's a lot of great games on the TurboGrafx-16. Even though most people, of the 3 that I knew, were made fun of a little bit for having the TurboGrafx-16, I think it was a very valid machine, and I've compiled my top 10 favorite TurboGrafx-16 games of all time. This is not considering any of the CD games, but this is a really great console for what it is, and it releasing in 1989 was really outstanding for the time that it released. So without further ado, in this very elongated intro, here's my top 10 favorite games for the TurboGrafx-16, otherwise known as the PC Engine. Number 10. Outrun. That's right, Outrun. Originally released in arcades in 1986, published by Sega. This amazing pseudo 3D racing game that came out so long ago in 1986 was incredible and was ported to many different consoles at the time. including that of the Sega Genesis. However, now that I have played it on basically every old school port that I possibly can, I would say one of the best ports of Outrun is actually the one on the TurboGrafx-16. The absolute rich colors and detail provide the closest thing to arcade at home, a slogan that many video games used at the time, but this was one of the ones that was very close to arcade. But enough about that, more about the game. This is a third-person, rear-perspective driving game, where the camera is placed near the ground and simulates a Ferrari driver's position and limits the player's view into the distance. The road will curve, crest, and dip, which will increase challenges by obscuring upcoming drivers. The object of this game is to reach the finish line before the timer runs out. The game world is divided into multiple stages that all end in checkpoints. Reaching the end of a stage provides more time. Near the end of each stage, the track will fork and give a player a choice of routes leading to 5 different destinations. The destinations represent different difficulties. Each ending has its own ending scene as well, adding additional playability to the game so that way you can get each ending. This was by far one of the most fun racing games that you could play in the early 90s that wasn't a kart racer like Mario Kart. This game holds up surprisingly well even today. However, I would much rather play this on an actual arcade cabinet, if you can find it anywhere. Number 9. R-Type. Speaking of arcade at home, R-Type, which was originally released in 1987 on arcade cabinets, is a horizontally scrolling shmup. In November of 1989, R-Type was ported to the TurboGrafx-16, and boy was it easily the best port of the time of R-Type. It being almost as good as the arcade port, just a little bit of graphical disparity. R-Type has a generally slower pace than other shmups of the time. As a player, you must also recognize and memorize enemy patterns if you want success. This was quite the difficult game for a shmup at the time. It composed of 8 levels with a boss at the end of each stage. The player will control a small spacecraft and must fly around, avoiding obstacles, terrain, enemies, and shooting as many things as possible. Utilizing your rapid-firing main gun, which is weak but fires rapidly, or the more powerful wave cannon, which can be activated by charging and by holding down the button to fire the cannon. Additionally, throughout the game, you can find devices called forces. These will resemble a glowing orange ball and can be attached to various parts of the vehicle or flying somewhere else to give you an additional powerful weapon on top of the weapons you already have. You can even detach these to basically make more versions of your regular gun if you so choose as well. There is all sorts of customization to be done in this game, and while it was so much fun in arcades, it did eat coins quite a bit. This is a game that can be enjoyed at home without needing to feed a bunch of coins into the machine, and it's going to be almost as good as playing at the arcade. Maybe a little bit off, but it's still spectacular, and I would much rather play this one than the arcade version. That's my personal opinion, but this is my favorite port of R-Type and probably my favorite way to play R-Type to this day. Number 8. Bomberman 93. Bomberman 93 is a maze/puzzle video game in the Bomberman series, released by Hudson Soft for the PC Engine and TurboGrafx-16, releasing in North America in March of 1993. If you know Bomberman, you know the gameplay, but if you don't know Bomberman, you control Bomberman by moving him around block-filled mazes and lying down bombs. The bombs will erupt into a cross-shaped explosion several seconds after being set. The explosion can destroy blocks or enemies in its path, as well as Bomberman himself, so be careful. If the explosion touches another bomb, the other bomb will instantly explode. This basic formula is used both in the single-player and multiplayer modes. As for the single-player, there is a bit of a rudimentary story where Black Bomberman has stolen 7 chips from the Pan-Galactic Bureau's mother computer and scattered them all across several planets within the Magellan solar system, and then it's up to Bomber Cop, aka White Bomberman, to recover them. You will play through 7 levels to find these stolen chips, which is a pretty fun way to go about the Bomberman franchise. However, where this game truly shines is with that multi-tap. This game with the multi-tap allows up to 5 players to compete against each other. I vividly remember not only playing 1v1 against my neighborhood friend, but also having other neighborhood friends come over to his place and playing a free-for-all of all 5 of us against each other. That was absolute crazy gameplay and some of the best fun that I had in 1993 when it came to video games, especially in a multiplayer format. Hudson Soft was very well known for making great games, including Bomberman. But I do believe Bomberman 93 is one of the best iterations of the formula to date, and I think I would go as far as saying this is my favorite Bomberman of all time. Number 7. Military Madness. Military Madness is a 1989 turn-based strategy game originally developed and published by Hudson Soft in Japan for the PC Engine and NEC for the North American release. The North American release officially came out in February of 1990. This sci-fi themed turn-based strategy game was a lot of fun, where players would assume the command of Allied Union across 16 increasingly difficult levels that take place on the moon in 2089. Holy moly. For each level, you are given a predetermined set-a-number amount of units to use, which you will move around the map to try to take and occupy enemy prison camps to free prisoners or destroy opposing enemy forces on the playfield. Each unit is going to have a different mobility range, as well as a different shooting range. Also, be wary of any terrain on the map that will affect your battle, possibly reducing your mobility, attack, or defense. When you actually do decide to attack, you will be moved to a different screen, an attack sequence screen, where you get to choose whether to defend or attack against enemies on the other side. Defeating them will make each unit involved in that combat gain experience, and become stronger with every encounter. After you complete each of the 16 levels, the game will restart, but on a higher difficulty, so you can replay this game with a higher difficulty a second time. Additionally, there is a 2-player mode where you can fight against a friend, something that I did a lot of as a kid, and it actually sparked my enjoyment of strategy games going into the future, and RTS games even further into the future. Number 6. Splatterhouse. Another arcade port! Wait a minute, wasn't the Neo Geo supposed to be the arcade port king? Anyway! Splatterhouse was originally a 1988 beat-em-up, published by Namco for arcade. The port to the TurboGrafx-16 came in August of 1990 in the United States. Splatterhouse is an interesting arcade-style beat-em-up with platform elements. This game was gory and quite ridiculous, although the gore was toned back a little bit on the TurboGrafx-16, and even the mask color was changed from white to like a black and red color. To start the game, 2 students at a local university, Rick Taylor and Jennifer Willis, take refuge from a storm in a West Mansion, a local trademark known as Splatterhouse, for the rumors of hideous experiments conducted in there, allegedly by Dr. West, a renowned and missing parapsychologist. When they enter the mansion, and the door slams behind them, Jennifer screams. Rick then awakens in a dungeon underneath the mansion, having been apparently resurrected thanks to the influence of the Hell Mask, the sacrificial artifact from West's house, which is capable of sentient thought. It attaches itself to Rick, fusing with his body, and transforms him into a monster with superhuman strength. With that, Rick goes on a rampage and kills all the monsters around. There's a twist about halfway through, but I'll let you play through it and take a look at that twist, which is a little sad and a little ridiculous. The gameplay consists of moving Rick around in a 2D environment. He has the ability to jump, punch, and kick, and also has a special attack, where he performs a drop kick that sends him skidding along the ground, damaging any enemies he hits. Additionally, you can also pick up various weapons placed in each level. Each level will also culminate in a boss battle as well, but unlike traditional side-scrolling beat-em-ups, boss fights have varying objectives and styles. For the time, Splatterhouse was very interesting for many, many reasons. The gameplay was a lot of fun. The plot was absurd. The shock factor present with the gore and murder and monsters. The excellent variety of bosses that could be fought. I've got to say, this is one of the best beat-em-ups that I have ever played, and I played it a lot on arcade and on the TurboGrafx-16 when I went over to my friend's house. I wasn't supposed to be allowed to play this game, as it did give me nightmares when I was 4 years old, but I still enjoyed the game, and even when I went back and played it recently, it was a lot of fun and definitely hit that nostalgia button for me. Number 5, Ninja Spirit. Now, I promise this is the very last arcade port on this list, but Ninja Spirit was a hack-and-slash platform game developed and published by Irem for arcades in 1988, which was then ported to the TurboGrafx-16 in North America sometime in 1990. This game follows Tsukikage, the main character of this game, who is a young ninja who lost his father to a mysterious half-man, half-beast monster. Ninja Spirit has 7 stages varying from woodlands, wastelands, swamps, temples, and cliffs. You will hack and slash your way to the end of each stage using Tsukikage and his various weapons. The one that he always has is his katana called the Muramasa, which can be used to attack in any direction. Additionally, you can find the Uzuha Shuriken, the Raitake Bomb, or the Shoryusai Kusarigama. There are also several power-up items that you can collect for various types of utility throughout the game. This game was finger-blisteringly difficult. However, the TurboGrafx-16 port included 2 different modes. A PC Engine mode, which players lose 1 life if all 5 energy points are used up, although certain enemies can kill the main character with 1 hit, and Arcade mode, which was exactly like the arcade, which is the most challenging mode where any hit that hits the main character will instantly lose you 1 life. To me, this felt like 16-bit Ninja Gaiden, and the fluid controls make this an absolute joy to play. Just make sure you don't get hit very often, if at all. Number 4, The Legendary Axe. The Legendary Axe is a horizontal platform hack-and-slash game for the TurboGrafx-16 that was developed and published by Victor Musical Industries in Japan, then published over in America by NEC. This game released as a launch title for the TurboGrafx-16 in August of 1989. Another game where a half-man, half-beast is terrorizing the land. This game takes place in a faraway land, where the land is under control by that half-man, half-beast named Jagu, and he runs a cult called the Cult of Jagu. Jagu and his cult pillage the countryside. The player character, Gogin, lives in a village within this land. His village must hand over one person every year as a human sacrifice to Jagu. While Gogin is away in a remote village studying warfare, his childhood friend, Flare, is selected by the Jagu as their annual sacrifice. He rushes back to his village to find that she has already been taken. The village elder hands Gogin the legendary axe named Sting, which gives him great strength to fight the evil cult. Armed with the axe, he sets forth to the evil palace to defeat Jagu and his cult and rescue his best friend. There are 6 levels in this game, called zones, which includes jungles, caves, and mountains. The objective of this game is to defeat creatures such as frogmen, bears, giant spiders, and more with his legendary axe, Sting. Eliminate the Jagu and his cult, and rescue his best friend by traversing each of these 6 levels. An interesting mechanic found in this game, unlike any other game at the time, was a power meter at the top of the screen. When the power meter is full, your attack with your axe will do more damage. This added a layer of strategy and depth to the game. Do you want to swing wildly with rapid succession strikes with lower damage? Or do you want to save up your power and try to hit with one big massive swing? The gameplay is up to you. You can also find various crystal containers that will make your strength meter increase by 25% every time one of these is collected. These can be found in many Jagu idols that you must destroy upon finding. They will reveal various power-ups, not just the crystal containers, but additionally will also reveal wings that will increase your attack speed, power balls that replenish Gogin's life meter, and crystals that award bonus points and extra lives. Additional lives can also be obtained by earning a certain number of points. The high-quality music and sound, and the smooth and colorful animation of this game make it a standout, especially as a launch title on the TurboGrafx-16. The levels are large and fun to play through, and the combat loop is also very fun as well, with that power meter being a nice strategic element added to the game. While the game is simple and fun to play, there is depth of gameplay there, and it is one of my favorite hack-and-slash platformers of all time. Number 3. Bonk's Revenge. What would a TurboGrafx-16 list look like without a Bonk title on here? Bonk's Revenge, the second game of the trilogy, is a 2D platformer set in prehistory. Created for the PC Engine and TurboGrafx-16 in 1991 by the Red Company for Hudson Soft and licensed by NEC. The game would be released in North America in August of 1991. In Bonk's Revenge, this big-headed boy is on a quest to recover half of the moon, which was stolen by the evil King Drool III. Bonk's Revenge has various stages that you must overcome. These stages are a range of areas, from outdoors to trains to space to underwater. Just like in Bonk's Adventure, you use the 1 button to jump and use the 2 button to use a bonk. His signature special move that will make his head go forward and bonk into an enemy, dealing a killing blow for most of them. You can also do this to headbutt the earth and kill enemies he lands on and create a damage shockwave. Holding down the 2 button in midair can also cause him to spin and hover, allowing for long and controlled jumps. Bonk can also use his large mouth to now grip onto allowed surfaces to climb. All these new and innovative mechanics actually made for really fun gameplay. Bonk's health is shown in the form of heart containers, similar to the Legend of Zelda series. Taking a hit from enemies will damage Bonk, reducing his amount in his heart containers. You can refill your health by finding various items such as fruit collected throughout the game. You can also find blue hearts that will increase the amount of heart containers that you have for your character. The game also features smileys, which are basically coins in the Mario series, which are helpful for the player to get bonus lives at the end of each level. Additionally, there's new power-ups in this version of the game. Bonk can power up and change into various forms by eating meat. With one small piece of meat, when Bonk bonks, a cloud floats toward enemies, freezing them when they come into contact. When he spins in the air, he has a cloud surrounding him. When he lands on his head, it freezes all enemies on screen. With another small piece of meat, or one large piece of meat, he becomes fully powered up and becomes temporarily invincible. In this form, he breathes fire, which destroys any enemy that comes into contact with it. When spinning, he is surrounded by fire, and when he lands, it causes damage to all enemies, instantly destroying most, but not all of them, on the screen. Bonk's Revenge was a freshly innovative take on the platforming genre at the time, and I do believe it has a lot of fun to be had within here, with all the various abilities and funny designs and great graphics of the game. I like Bonk's Adventure and I like Bonk's Big Adventure, but something about Bonk's Revenge just hits differently, and I find myself having the most fun playing the second Bonk, and I highly recommend you play it if you have the means to do so. Number 2. Neutopia. Neutopia is an overhead action-adventure video game developed by Hudson Soft. It was released by Hudson for the PC Engine in Japan on November 17, 1989. It was then released by NEC for the TurboGrafx-16 in North America on April 15, 1990. Neutopia takes place in the distant past, in the land of Neutopia, a prosperous and peaceful land in which the people worshipped at the sacred shrine and were watched over by the Princess Aurora. The land was divided into 4 contiguous areas, called spheres: land, subterrane, sea, and sky. People lived in prosperity and happiness, with help of the 8 spiritual medallions, which were collected by the princess and used for good. Sometime after that, a climactic castle was built as a symbolization of their prosperity. Each of the medallions represented powers of an ancestor whom Neutopia's nemesis, the evil demon Dearth, turned to stone, but whose spirit remains. One night, Dearth appears and invades the land, sends his army of demons to ravage the land, capture the princess, hold her captive in the climactic castle, where he would rule over the now invading world of demons. He also steals the 8 medallions, because of course, and they are the 8 MacGuffins that you must find and collect throughout the game. You, as the player character, Jazetta, arrives at the sacred shrine, where he is given a charmed compass, which has the force of the medallions, which could guide him to them. This game is very much often compared to The Legend of Zelda on the NES. Your main weapon is a sword. It's a top-down perspective. You can find various weapons throughout the world and in crypts, which are basically dungeons, such as the Fire Rod or Moonbeam Moss, while finding additional upgrades for the sword, shield, and armor to increase attack power, defense, from projectiles, and damage reduction. I can see why this game is often compared to The Legend of Zelda, and I would agree with that. Maybe with a little bit of Star Tropics sprinkled in there, just without all the jumping. The main gripe that I have with this game is having to use passwords instead of having a save file, but this game is still a ton of fun and easily one of the best Zelda-likes that you can play outside of an NES or SNES at that time, back in the day. So it is my number 2 game on this console. Number 1. Dungeon Explorer. Dungeon Explorer is an action RPG developed by Atlas for the TurboGrafx-16 and PC Engine. Originally published by Hudson Soft in Japan, releasing on March 4th, 1989, and later in North America by NEC on November 15th of 1989. The game is set in the land of Odessia, which has been overrun by an alien race, where players assume the role of one of 8 main characters, tasked with recovering the Aura Stone and to kill the alien king Natus. Each of those 8 characters belongs to a different class: a fighter, a thief, warlock, witch, bishop, elf, bard, or gnome, and each of them has various abilities, differences in their black or white magic, and variances in their stats. 2 additional classes can be unlocked later on in the game via password as you progress in the game. You will explore the overworld to find dungeons, which will host a boss that must be defeated in order to advance, and each boss will leave a crystal after their defeat, which cycles through 4 colors and corresponds with the character's stats: attack, strength, agility, or intelligence. Players can also increase their stats by defeating enemies or finding accessories through the map. The game supports up to 5 players simultaneously, but lives are shared between all players, and the game is over once they are lost. The password system is also used to keep progress for each player. This game is often called a Gauntlet-like, but I almost feel as if this is a combination of Gauntlet and The Legend of Zelda combined into one game, making it a truly unique gameplay experience, especially because of the 5-player mode that you can play, and that I definitely played with the neighborhood kids back in the day in 1993. I often found myself playing as the fighter, thief, or witch very often, as I still find myself playing in various types of RPGs now. While I do have a gripe with the password system in order to save your game, it was actually really cool to have a gang of 5 friends scribble down the password. The 8 different classes was such a unique feature of this game that added variety for you to be able to play with different play styles every time you played this game. The replay value of this game is insane, as you'll be able to have a different experience multiple times playing through this wonderful game. And I would go as far to say that I like this game, Dungeon Explorer, more than I like the original Legend of Zelda. Though it does not hold that same level of desolation and loneliness as you are able to play with a bunch of friends, and additionally have multiple NPCs that you can talk to get various information as well. This game feels like the real deal, and is a game I have found myself returning to multiple times throughout my life. If you have multiple friends and a means to play this game, I highly recommend it. Though the graphics are a little dated today, the game is an absolute blast to play, and actually takes some mechanical skill. Find a class that's fun for you and have at it, whether by yourself or with friends. This is easily the best action RPG on the console, and my favorite game of the TurboGrafx-16. Thank you so much for tuning in to my top 10 favorite TurboGrafx-16 games. Something about the fallen leaves on the ground just reminded me of this awesome console, and how awesome it was, and how underappreciated and undervalued it was, even though it was objectively weaker than that of the Sega Genesis or SNES. Hudson Soft and NEC produced some absolute classic and amazing games that I highly recommend that you check out. They also ported some absolutely incredible arcade titles, and I highly recommend that you check out those too, so you can get a taste of what arcade at home felt like in the early 90s. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more top 10s from me, hit that like button, subscribe, ding the bell, do all the things. It does definitely help me grow, and also, why not do all that stuff if you are also a fan of the TurboGrafx-16? Let me know your experiences with the TurboGrafx-16 or even the PC Engine down in the comments below. I would love to talk retro game talk with anyone who's willing. Thank you so much to KMAL3170, my one VIP DMFFer. If you would like your name read off at the end of my videos, and would like to see some of my biggest projects a week early from their release on YouTube, join my Patreon today. It is found down in the description below. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.